To the Stephanie G Show. Okay. Welcome to the Stephanie G Show. Stephanie, do your thing, girl. Come on.
This is our love celebration. Celebration. This is our love celebration. Celebration. This is our love celebration. Celebration. This is our love celebration.
Everybody, welcome to the Stephanie G Show. I am your host, Stephanie G, and we have a great show lined up for you today. I am sitting near Mr. John Singletary. He is running for mayor of the City of North Charleston in South Carolina. First, I want to thank you for this interview. It's such an honor to have you on the show.
My pleasure.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Now, I'm glad to have you on the show, and I see your movement, and I love your whole mission and your cause for running for mayor of North Charleston. Can you please share with us the reason why you're running for the City of North Charleston mayor?
I'm running for mayor because presently the City of North Charleston lacks leadership. The city is growing not because of the present administration, but in spite of the present administration. When we take a look at North Charleston, it is the largest city in South Carolina for African Americans. There's 50,000 African Americans in North Charleston who have been left out of the mainstream. We've got 85% of the jobs going to 38% of the population, 95% of the contracts. And so when we take a look at North Charleston and we look citywide, there are whites, blacks, and Hispanics that are being left out because of a dynasty that has existed for 20 years that does not include fundamental fairness for everyone in the city. I'm from North Charleston. I'm homegrown, and I feel that our city and our residents deserve more, and I can give them that.
All right, I love that. I love the whole mission, and I love that your whole mission is is creating equality across the board, funding wise, just across the board for the City of North Charleston. Now, there's a lot of issues that have put South Carolina, Charleston on the map. A lot of issues. From the shooting of Walter Scott to the AME, the 9 victims that lost their lives. Yeah. Coming into this mayoral race, with all of that on the table and on the plate, how would you tackle the issue of bringing peace back into the community, or bringing people to trust the government and police, the police figures as well?
Well, the first thing that has to be done with the local police department is that there has to be evaluation. You have to take a look at, when you put a police on the street, you're looking at someone who is there to protect and serve, not to come in and profile individuals. And presently, North Charleston, out of last year's report to the South Carolina Department of Public Safety, between 2011 and 2015, there were a total of 122,818 stops that were not given tickets or citations. Out of those 122,818, 80,250 were African Americans. So the City of North Charleston not only knows, it reports that it racially profiles. On the table is the Walter Scott shooting. Walter Scott not only was a friend of mine, but previously, back in October of 2014, I sent a letter to the FBI, to the Department of Justice, asking them to come to North Charleston because the policemen and the administration were living above the law. What they were actually doing was the Snowden case, the Walter Scott case. They were performing actions that were illegal and then covering them up. We understand clearly that the Rialto study says that when you have the body cams, that the complaints from citizens, they decreased by 88%. But the police brutality decreases by about 63%. So for the city to say that we do not have the funding, $275,000, to put into the body cams when they just gave $3.8 million to build a dog kennel, it does not flow psychologically, emotionally, or financially. It does not line up. And so we have to take a look at doing evaluations for the police. We have to take a look at doing sensitivity training. The Walter Scott situation, of course, is in the court system, and so we can't really deal, with the minute details on that. But when we look at the Emmanuel 9, we've got 9 people, 2 of which were working on my campaign. And
It definitely hits home. Besides,
it hits home.
Yeah.
It hits home. The pain doctor children are now working on the campaign because they've picked up where she left off. Ruth Pinckney has picked up and is now working on the campaign. And so it's unfortunate, but North Charleston has had a long-standing strained relationship with African Americans that has to be addressed. The worldwide stage, they've looked at it, and if we don't do something about it now, it's never going to change.
Wow, you're absolutely right, and I agree. I just feel that right now is the time to take action. That everybody, let's get together and let's move and go right in the right direction, on course and on purpose. So that's what I love about your movement and your race for mayor of North Charleston as well. Now, we always question, the politicians, like, what can you do for us? What can you do for our community? But I know it takes the community and the people to actually work with the government, to actually get things going. So with your race, when you become mayor, what can the people do on our end to help you, to help the government, to help,
I think that the most obvious thing that they can do is to become educated. When we have an educated public, then better decisions are being made.
I agree.
It's unfortunate that presently the 2 things that the administration tries to do is to first restrict information and then to restrict funding sources except for certain privileged individuals. And I'm not talking about just whites. I'm talking about the nepotism that exists there with a family dynasty where you not only have the county, you've got the judgeship, you've got the city administration, all falling under one family. There's no way to get inclusion from all of the citizens. What we bring to the table is we bring not only the capacity to run the city well, but the willingness to include all of the citizens. That's what makes a city run well, is that you have citizens who are well educated, who they are allowed to come on board and say, these are the things we need. Presently, the mayor has said that he will not debate me. Well, to make the statement being a public servant that I refuse to allow the public to question me about what I'm doing, about the decisions I've made in governing them with their own funds is quite arrogant. It speaks volumes. And so what we need to do is we need to educate people that when things are not going as they should with the government, then you have to get involved because a decision's going to be made. And if you're not at the table when the decision's been made, then it's too late on the back end to come in and say, well, we don't like what you did.
Your whole overall campaign, Mr. Singletary, what is your mission? What do you want people to see beyond everything else? What is your core, your mission behind what you do?
The entire mission for this campaign is to infuse the public back into government.
Okay.
When we take a look at what's going on now, decisions are made in a vacuum, and they're made without any type of public interjection of what is good for the city. Prime example, the 1.6 million that was just received is simply a Trojan horse. When we take $1.6 million from the U.S. Department of Labor, we say that our problem, this is what the administration has admitted as the problem, is lack of jobs. And what we get is a training program that does not ensure any jobs. Then there's a non sequitur there. There is the fact that you say you need jobs, but I'm going to give you a training program that we already know that training programs have failed in America as a whole. And it's no different in South Carolina. There's less than a 20% effectiveness of the programs. So we're going to get out of a $1.6 million, we may get 25, 30 jobs. Someone has gotten hired. The target community has not gotten hired. That money could be used more effectively if you took the $1.6 million and said to businesses who already have to hire, listen, we're not going to take the money and put in a lease for a building and put in hiring trainers who are not in the community. We're going to take the 1.6 and give businesses $2,000 per person that they hire at $50,000 and above.
And that's putting people to work.
It puts 800 jobs back in the community itself and $40 million back into that target community because we have the 800 jobs times $50,000. So that infuses $40 million into the community. That is the crux of the problem, and that's what we would do in order to curtail it.
And that'll help heal the community, because I
Absolutely.
realize at the root of everything is of poverty, of crimes, is money, is funding, is economic, is education as well.
Sure.
But it's funding, it's
Funding.
money.
When we look at Ecclesiastes 7 and 12, it says that your protection is your knowledge and your money. Now, better than both of those is the knowledge to know God for salvation. We understand that. But the two nuggets on the table are clear. Education. You have to have knowledge.
Of course, yes.
Money, the funding streams for the city, we're talking about jobs and contracts. And when you have an overabundance of jobs and contracts that have been disproportionately applied to only a few, it leaves the community unprotected.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree. Now, for the people who are meeting you for the first time on the show, can you share with the people what makes you qualified to run for mayor of North Charleston?
Well, formally, what makes me qualified is my education. Graduated from the Citadel back in 1983. The Citadel is a quality school which provides business leaders throughout the community. And so my formal education there, and then I went on to Butler University for my master's. That qualifies me to work as the candidate from an educational standpoint. But more important than that is I've got the courage necessary to go up against the current administration, to engage the public back into the government, and I've got the willingness and the capability to do the job. That qualifies me.
All right. So, and I want to dig. I want people to see you, who you are. If somebody, who are you? Who are you, Mr. Singletary? What do you want the people to know about you behind the suit, behind the accolade? Who are you? Because I know you're a family man as well. So I just want you to share some information about that.
I'm a family man. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Lovely wife and 3 children.
Yes.
Alexis, John III, and Ava. My wife is Carla. I'm a homegrown candidate.
Yes.
I'm a servant.
Love that, homegrown.
I grew up right there in Murray Hill, and went to Gordon Garrett, stayed here and went to the Citadel, then went to Butler University. But I want people to understand that, I'm genuine in terms of being a servant and helping people. I've worked with the Father to Father program, with the South Carolina Father Practitioners Network, served as the president for it for about 7 years. And I worked with Family Assistance Management Services. I worked with all kinds of organizations in the community, helping the community. And that's why I think that I've got my finger on the pulse of what we need, because over the years, I've been able to see what has happened when government has forgotten their mission of service, that the community suffers. It's just like the old adage that, you know, when elephants fight, the grass suffers. When we have an administration that focuses on something less than service to the people suffer. And so I want them to understand that I'm first a servant.
I love that.
I'm a family man, love my wife, my children, and I think that that is something that, if given the opportunity, a lot of other people in the community would want to do as well. I want to give opportunity for people, no matter what their color in North Charleston, to be able to, if they want to work hard, to prosper as the city grows.
What is your inspiration? What is your inspiration? Who inspires you? What is the fuel in your tank?
Everyday people who are out there working hard in spite of, against the odds, to try and make a simple living and have some quality of life. That's my inspiration.
I love it. I love it. Now, I know when I look at previous shows and look on the news as well, I see that everybody has this thing about just candidly saying the problems all the time. And I know the community is crying out saying, we already know our problems, you know. Give us some solutions. Right now, can you share like some solutions that you will tackle and handle once you're in office?
Sure. I tackle them head on, straight on. I believe that that's the only way to really get to the heart of the problem. The 1.6 million that came in from the Department of Labor, of course, I've already laid out what I think a solution for that would be. When we look at jobs, we have to realize that when we've got 50% African American in North Charleston, 38% Caucasian, and 12% Hispanic, when 85% of the jobs are going to 38% of the population, that's a problem. The only way to change that is to infuse parity. We have to have a situation where there is an equal distribution based upon the demographics. When we take a look at the single member districts, the government has said that that's what they need to do. When we look at the diversity study from 2008 that North Charleston did, it says that parity is the single largest thing that could benefit the community. And so we have to understand clearly that jobs have to be shared throughout the community. Contracts need to be shared. You can't take $40 million in contracts and give 62% of the population 5%, $2 million in contracts, and give 38% of the population 95% of the contracts, $38 million, and think that everything is going to be okay. We have to get to a point not only with sharing the jobs and contracts, but also justice. There's no reason why the jail on Leeds Avenue should be 73% African American. There's a strategic and systemic issue in how jobs are assigned, and if you take a look at the report that was done by the Post and Courier, by the mayor, he clearly understands that there's a correlation between high crime and low jobs. When we look at Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, she clearly says that joblessness, chronic joblessness in a neighborhood will result in a high crime rate. It doesn't excuse crime, but there's a correlation. That's what they recognize, but fail to address. They fail and refuse to address that.
You really sound like a man that's really like for the community and for the people as well. Because this is something that you've been doing before you even got into the race for the mayor of North Charleston. Can you share with the people what is next, what events that you have going on, how the people can get in contact with you, and stay up to date with what's going on with your campaign?
We have at Royal Baptist Church
Okay.
on the 11th, we have an event that will be a town hall meeting. We will be August 11th. We will be discussing many issues that we're talking about now in detail. We'll be showing people how to find the comprehensive plan, the reports there, how to read them, how to find the budget on the city's website, how to find the transparency report, so that not just listening to me, we show you how to go and verify all of the information that's there. When we say that the City of North Charleston pays utility bills for churches, and that there are thousands of dollars every single month going to churches, but only white churches. That's because we've gone through the reports and we have seen that. When we say that they've taken the Weed and Seed program, sucked down federal funds and diverted them over to build neighborhoods that are owned by the city, that are 99% Caucasian, it's because we have read that in the reports. And so those are types of issues that have to be addressed. When we say to the white community that you too are being left out because there's been a dynasty that has, through nepotism and cronyism and corruption, taken even your opportunity only for family members and close friends, we show them how to go and verify what we're saying.
So you will bring all that to the table.
We bring
August
all of that
11th
to the
August 11th at Royal Baptist Church.
Royal Baptist Church.
Is there a website that people can go to
Sure.
and read up on you?
We've got a website. The website is www.johnsingletary.com. We're located at 4006 Dorchester Road, and the phone number is 843-225-9460. And we have the calendar on the website as well.
So definitely check out his website. You can read out. You can read up more about what he has going on, his events, how to volunteer as well,
Yes.
and donate to this cause as well. I want to leave on this note. I always ask people, you know, like everybody goes through different phases in their lives, and I believe that there's a quote or a scripture that helps you along that phase. Is there anything right now that you like meditating on, or you can actually pinpoint for this phase in your life that you would like to share with people to inspire and motivate them?
Sure. When I take a look at inspiration, there is a saying that we should not always plant and others reap the benefit of our harvest. And I think that for all citizens in North Charleston who have been, over the years, putting into making a city grow, that they want to be world class, that has been sucked out from them, that all of us in the city should not always plant, and allow others to reap the benefit of our harvest.
I love that. All right. It's powerful. Very profound. And great ending point of this interview.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Singletary, for this interview. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Always my pleasure.
And we're out.